Into the stars, to buy candy bars, writes a kid with a knack for inventions. This is the theme song to Jimmy Neutron, one of the most beloved cartoons of the early 2000s. Many people know it for its zany characters, clever writing, as well as its very cheap computer animation. What people don't know is the backstory to the boy genius, and his journey from the big screen to the small screen, and to the big screen again. In 1998, creators John A. Davis and Steve Odenkirk had pitched an idea to Nickelodeon about an 11-year-old boy with a big brain making crazy inventions with many problems to solve along the way. The concept was intriguing to the heads at Nickelodeon, yet they weren't quite sure if they were up to put so much money into this new wave of animation. They asked Odenkirk and Davis if the movie could be seen in the classic hand-drawn format. However, they declined. They convinced the CEO of Nickelodeon at the time, Mr. Nathan Nickelodeon, that the movie will be the next Toy Story franchise, and could even spawn many sequels in the future. So Mr. Nickelodeon bought into their scheme and let them make their dumb kids movie. Cut to 2001, when Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius was finally released to the masses. The movie was received with pretty average reception, but did pretty well at the box office. Not to mention, it even got nominated for Best Animated Feature at the 2002 Academy Awards. Paramount and Nickelodeon were both pleased with the film, however, they weren't quite sure about continuing the series for the cinema. So with many compromises, Jimmy Neutron was now going straight to television.
Intense UV radiation has made me delusional. I'm a monkey.
The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron had a good solid run, lasting for about 3 seasons. The success even led to a ride at Universal Studios. Once the show ended, Odenkirk and Davis felt it was best to move on from the series and work on other projects. Steve Odenkirk went on to make another big Nickelodeon property, Barnyard, as Davis went on to do The Ant Bully. As Barnyard drew to an end and Davis with nothing on his schedule at the time, Nickelodeon tried to persuade John and Steven to bring back Neutron. Odenkirk and Davis refused, as they felt there was no need. Nickelodeon was not too happy about their response, threatening blackmail on the two creators. So John and Steven got back to work. During the gap between 2006 and 2010, Odenkirk and Davis got back to writing the next adventures for the Boy Genius. The problem? Where do we go from here? They knew that if the series returned, the quality wouldn't match up to its original and could leave the fans disappointed. Thankfully, Davis had a brain blast as he realized a massive trend in Hollywood. With beloved cartoons being adapted to live action, such as Transformers, G.I. Joe, Garfield, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Scooby-Doo, and almost Hong Kong Phooey, he knew the next big thing for the property was to bring it to life. Nickelodeon and Paramount were pleased with John's pitch. CEO of Paramount, Mr. Perry Paramount, gave them a budget of $100 million and told them to make their dumb kids movie. The live-action adaptation of James Isaac Neutron would not just be another rehash of the original, but instead a continuation. The story would follow Jimmy as a junior at Lindbergh High School, still at the top of his class. Many things have changed since we last saw Jimmy. Carl and Sheen are now both dropouts, making their living as employees at Retroland. Cindy Vortex is now signing up as a foreign exchange student in France, leaving behind her good pal Libby, and his mechanical canine Goddard has passed away. Things start to get worse as his parents Hugh and Judy Neutron confess to Jimmy that they're now filing for divorce as counseling could not help their hopeless marriage. It was an event had foreseen to happen. In hopes to turn things around, Jimmy hops to his abandoned shed, inventing a serum that could change people's minds. And it worked. Jimmy's parents were now back together. Carl and Sheen leave their jobs to further their education, and Cindy decides to stay in Retroville with her friends. With all sunshines and rainbows, the invention begins to have its side effects, as everybody injected with the serum begins to have a mob mentality towards Jimmy. Mob mentality towards Jimmy. Now Neutron must escape his town to find an antidote with the help of Libby by his side. During their long journey, Jimmy and Libby come across many familiar characters from the show, such as Tremendous Jackson, Jet Fusion, and even Travoltron. The plot thickens as they bump into his arch-nemesis, Finbar Calamitous, who in a shocking turn of events, helps Jimmy with the antidote. Finbar sadly dies before he can even finish his mission, leaving Jimmy and Libby to complete the experiment themselves. Thankfully, all was good in the end. Jimmy saves the day, he got the girl, and everything turned back to normal. The people at Paramount found the movie to be quite extreme for kids, and not because of its allegory on depression. They felt it would be too big of a risk to show an interracial couple in a big blockbuster and turned down their script. This was a big punch to the gut for Odenkirk and Davis. With Nickelodeon still hovering over their shoulders, they knew they had to continue the franchise some way, somehow. That's when Planet Sheen came along. October 2nd, 2010. The Jimmy Neutron fandom was crushed by what they considered was the 9/11 of cartoon spin-offs. Though Planet Sheen was received poorly, the show somehow continued with 3 seasons. Davis came out to say that it was his biggest regret since his meth-head daughter had left the entertainment business completely. We came across Steve Odenkirk at a Whole Foods market in hopes to get his impact on the show after all these years.
My heart was just not in the right place. We were tired. John pretty much gave up at that point. We wrote the pilot to Planet Sheen in about 3 hours or so and just sent it to Nickelodeon. And for some reason, they said yes to it. We thought the show would only last for about 5 episodes and just get canned. I didn't think it would be somewhat successful. What I also didn't realize was that my wife of 20 years would break up with me and take the children. I'm truly sorry for what I made, and I hope to make it up in the future.
It's very heartbreaking to hear these words. We may never get to see Jimmy Neutron again, and we may never get to see him in live action, though we can be glad that the idea is out there and almost saw the light of day. We asked Steve if he could come back to making the film. This is what he stated.
Yeah, I have no idea where you heard that from, but that was never a thing. We were never going to make a live-action Jimmy Neutron movie. But who knows? It could happen one day. I think Timothy Chalamet would be a good fit. Okay, I gotta go.